Coming up on this week's episode, the mood is low as we look at what Chelsea and Villa need to do to improve. There's more wonders of why. I have the quiz this week and Liam has a Who Am I, so let's get started. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Views from Sunderland Podcast. It's Chris here and Liam is here. Hello Liam.
Good evening Chris. How are you feeling after the weekend?
Very low.
Yeah, I'm a bit deflated after that.
I mean, I thought there was a chance that we might lose, but just not in that way.
No,
just not like that. Not like that. But we're going to talk about. I think we've both come up with some sort of strategy, I assume, of what our clubs need to do to improve. I know it's only 3 games into the season, but from my point of view, I think there's still a lot that needs to be done. And I assume it's probably the same for you with Villa as well, Liam.
Yeah, I mean, I am wary of taking up this entire episode talking about what we need to do to improve. It's hard to narrow it down into a short, 10, 15-minute segment, but I will do my best.
Okay, right. Well, we'll go into. I'll go first with Chelsea, and you see if you agree with any of my points. So we'll just quickly go through, obviously, what happened at the weekend. Yeah, I mean, I think as soon as the first goal goes in, it kind of just really deflated the team. I don't know if you've seen the highlights or whether you saw any of the game itself, but I mean, it's a huge mistake from Mendy. I think he's gone into outfield mode, and I don't know what he was thinking at all. This is the one thing that gripes me about Chelsea is the amount of time that mistakes are made from passing out from the keeper. It just irritates me so much sometimes, and I think sometimes it goes down to the point where we just don't have a target man up top to aim for. Last year it wasn't so bad because we had Lukaku. When he did play, it was kind of who forward for him to bring it down and to look out wide, and he didn't. That's the whole reason he didn't like playing for Chelsea, because that was his job basically. But I mean, the amount of times that we get caught out at the back because of that. It's just so irritating, and then for Mendy to do that, it's just annoying really. And then obviously we conceded another goal about 5 minutes later from a free kick, pretty much free header. I mean, not much the goalkeeper could have done about that. And then again the last goal comes in. It's just one of those where Tuchel went for broke really, brought on Pulisic and Ziyech, who both are looking, I think, to leave the club. So not really the players that you want to bring on in a crisis. And then Lee scored a third, and then obviously Koulibaly getting sent off was just, the cherry on top of the cake. Really, it's just one of those days.
I think looking at Chelsea over the last few years, like you say, it's been quite a regular feature. The last few managers you've had have sort of tried to play out from the back with varying degrees of success, but Kepa took a lot of flack for not being able to use his feet. And now Mendy obviously came in, had a brilliant start, was very, very consistent. But towards the end of last year, and certainly now at the start of this year, obviously he's made the mistake against Leeds, but he doesn't seem to be getting the same level of stick that Kepa got. They were very quick to call him out and say that he needs to be. I suppose the price tag.
I think that was mainly down to the price tag that they paid for him. I think.
Yeah, but I think Mendy's a good keeper. I'm not saying that, but it's obvious to me, looking at where you need to improve. You played 2 strikers on Saturday, and neither were strikers. You played Sterling and Havertz up front. Like that. Who would you want to bring in now?
So obviously
Lewandowski's going in, Lukaku and Werner have left you. Who do you think is realistic to bring in?
Well, I think from what I've seen today, I think it looks highly likely that they're going to get Aubameyang and I've just seen on Twitter sort of in the last hour or so that they're being linked with an AC Milan striker, Portuguese striker called Rafael Leao.
Right.
So I think I think the main thing is we just need a focal point up front. We need someone, because we are very much a team that gets the ball, puts it out wide. Mount or Pulisic, Sterling, they do what they do out wide. Take a few players on and put the ball in the box. And I think that's where we lacked. Havertz is not anywhere near good enough to be a striker on his own. And I think we really do need a goal scorer, and we need a proven goal scorer. And I think Aubameyang will give us that. I think although he's 33, he's kind of a been there, done that sort of striker. He's going to get you goals. So yeah, I think a striker is definitely on the cards. And then they're still chasing this Fofana from Leicester as well, and I don't really know what's going on with that, because Leicester said they want 80 million, but I don't think they're going to get anywhere near that.
No.
So it's going to be down to negotiating. I think from what I've seen online, Chelsea sort of see him around about the £60 million mark. And then I had to, when I went on Twitter yesterday, I had to rub my eyes because it said that Harry Maguire was being linked to Chelsea. He gets a lot of stick at Man United. He hasn't done great since he's joined there, but I don't think it's always his fault.
No.
It's not always down to him. He's the captain. So I think that's where he gets most of the stick. So, but with Maguire, I think the price is going to be the biggest standing point. But I mean, one centre back and one striker by, I think it's Friday, isn't it? The transfer deadline. So I think by then they need to have bought at least one of each, whether it is Fofana, whether it's Maguire, whether it's someone else. I don't know. Because I saw Thiago Silva, he struggled yesterday. It was the first time where I've seen him and thought, sort of his age has sort of crept up on him. There was a few moments yesterday where he was getting caught out. It wasn't really like him. So I think one striker, one centre back, a must. I think we're pretty much covered in all other bases, especially sort of the wingers. I think we've got enough of them to last us for a long time. And Loftus-Cheek's probably been our best player. First 3 games, probably been our best player. And he started playing, right wing back. So, we seem to have got some versatile players, which is good. And Cucurella sort of went, after Koulibaly got sent off yesterday, Cucurella kind of filled in at left centre back as well. So, yeah, I think there's still players that need to leave as well. I think there's probably a list as long as my arm that probably don't need to be there anymore. They could probably find somewhere else. You've got Ross Barkley playing for the under-21 side at the moment, so I think he'll definitely be off. But it's not like that we need to replace him. We've brought in some young players over the summer as well. And it definitely looks like they've signed like 4 or 5 youngsters who are quite highly rated. So it definitely seems like they're trying to build something there as well for sort of 4 or 5 years down the line. Because they signed a striker from Inter Milan as well. So,
I thought quite interesting. Well, I don't know whether interesting is the right word, but obviously you've got new owners this summer.
Yeah.
2 things strike me about your hunt for a striker. First of all, why has Lukaku been allowed to leave so easily without a replacement? It wasn't a secret that he wanted to go, so I don't understand why there wasn't a ready-made replacement coming.
No.
And secondly, as well, I think the person who fits the bill would be Tammy Abraham, to be honest.
Yeah. There is a...
Do you think they've been short-sighted? Obviously, he was sold under Abramovich, but do you think that the sort of powers that be at Chelsea are quite short-sighted in terms of transfers?
Yeah, I think the issue with the Lukaku thing was the I don't think him and Tuchel got on very well. I think it was clear from Chelsea's point of view he wasn't happy with the role that he had at the club. Like I said it just a minute ago, that he was there to sort of win the ball in the air, bring it down, and then offload it out wide. And if he got it back, he got it back in the box. So I don't think he was particularly happy with that. But you're right in what you said. I think that knowing from sort of May, June time that he was going, or they were going to allow him to go, you would have thought that they would have had someone lined up. I think you're right. I think, Tammy Abraham would be a great choice to have. I've seen Ivan Toney's name being put in there as well, but those two are probably very similar players. I mean, for Abraham, I think there is a buyback clause on him, but I don't think he'd particularly want to come back right now because he seems to be doing pretty well over in Italy. Same with players like Tomori as well. Like, I can never understand why they let him go, and for such little money. I know 30 million is probably a lot of money, but in football terms, for an English centre back, he's regularly playing for England now. I think he's thriving over in Italy. I mean, I've seen Hudson-Odoi was on the bench yesterday. He's another one that's likely to go, and I hope they don't regret letting him go, because I think he does work hard when he plays. He doesn't play often, and he has sometimes he hasn't played great, but the majority of the time I've seen him play, he works hard. But again, he was another one that was always played out of position, right wing back, So, I mean, I think the key is now, I think just to get a striker in, but I know Aubameyang has played under Tuchel before, so I just think he is the one that's going to fit the most for now. He's 33. He's not long term. Let's just say that. So, and like I said, they've seemed to have got a plan in place of signing these youngsters for the future. And we haven't really signed any young players for a long, long time. And obviously we pinched one of your guys as well.
Yeah, he's doing really well, hasn't he? Been starting every game like he said he wanted to.
So, he's definitely not come for the money. He's come for the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think your point is valid. I think, there should have been a plan in place. But obviously when the whole Lukaku situation was going on, the takeover was still going through. So, it's probably, it was already halfway there when Abramovich was there. Not that he probably had a lot of say in that matter, but as we just desperately need a striker.
Yeah.
And I'm 90% sure that Aubameyang's gonna sign for Chelsea. So hopefully before the week, it'll have to be before the weekend, won't it? So
I find it a little bit strange as well that I know you've obviously spent quite a lot of money and most players have been sort of defensive, but Sterling for me was the big signing for you this season or this summer. But you don't play wingers.
No,
strange now.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think he did start out wide yesterday. I think they did try and play like a 5-2-3 formation, but it just wasn't working. So he did end up having to change it. Sterling went up, like you said, as a 2 up front with Havertz, but he's missed a few chances though, mind you. Sterling yesterday, he missed one yesterday after about a minute. It just went wide, and then there was one against Tottenham as well that he missed. But he gives, when you see him play, you can tell he's given 100%. So, I have got no sort of arguments with him. It's just Koulibaly has to get sent off. It's stupid foul. Just pulling someone back when he didn't even have the ball right in front of the referee. I mean, he was always going to go for that second yellow. So, so what will be. And like I said, I'll be happy with one striker. I'm not fussed about a centre-back. I just think we need another centre-back because we do have enough in the club. Like, Chalobah's there on the bench. But again, last year he did have a mistake in him a few times, so I think they're just cautious with him at the moment. But then I don't want to completely change the back three, sort of, after 3-4 games of the season, because it just gets confusing for the people that are playing at the back. So we'll wait and see what happens there. So we'll move over to Villa and sort of talk through the game. Obviously at the weekend, were you the early kickoff on Saturday? Was it the early kickoff? No, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock, but we scored very early on, and I thought, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be one of those where it all clicks.
Didn't
We're going to run away 3-0 winners. And then within 2 minutes, it was 1-1. And, my hopes were daft. It wasn't our best performance. I think we've gotten into a habit of playing one formation at home with 2 strikers and another formation away from home with 1 striker. Watkins obviously scored, not got anything against Ollie Watkins. It's obviously a difficult decision between him and Danny Ings, but I think striker-wise, we've got 2 good ones. We've got to be realistic, we're not going to sign a 25 goal a year man. We just need someone to get us 15, and I think Watkins can do that, and I think Ings is very capable of doing that. We just need to choose between the 2 of them, and it's quite difficult. We play them together, and we played okay against Everton. We got a little bit lucky, but we played okay. We could have scored a couple more, I think, but we could have conceded and drew the game at the end. But I think it's Gerrard's indecision that I'm going to sort of focus on for our areas of improvement. He plays 2 different formations, which I've never known a manager do. He has obviously taken the captaincy from Mings, which is entirely up to him. I understand that. Mings, I think, has a bit of a love-hate relationship with Villa fans. I think we all love him as a person, but we know he's got that mistake in him. But he always seems to bounce back. And, he has games like he has against Everton where he actually won us the game with a couple of tackles right at the end. But then he'll go and cost you a goal or 2, set pieces or something like that. He'll miss a header, misplace a pass or whatever. But I don't think personally that he should have been removed of the captaincy. I think he's a loud voice on the pitch. You can see everything in front of him. And it went to John McGinn. And again, nothing against John McGinn. He's a good player, but now even half the Villa fans are saying maybe he's not good enough to get us to where we want to go. And we're in a bit of an odd situation at the moment where we're somewhere between sentimentality for the people that got us promoted and got us a good good second year, when we beat Liverpool and all that. And obviously we do remember those good times, but you can't live on sentimentality alone.
No.
And those players don't seem to be at the level that we are apparently aiming for, which is, top 8 European football. So I think what we're going to need going forward, we definitely need someone else in midfield. I think we need Gerrard first of all to stick to a formation. I personally go with 1 up front, 2 wide players, either Coutinho or Buendia just behind the striker, rather than playing 2 up front. But in order to do that, he's got rid of all our wingers. I know we were about to sign Ismail Assar last night, and then it's all fallen through. So maybe he was deciding to do that. I'm not sure exactly what's happened there. I'm sure it'll come out soon.
I saw it tweeted last night that I thought the deal had been agreed and he was on his way. Oh, wow.
So it looks like he's passed the medical and the deal had been agreed.
So he's off somewhere else, I reckon.
No, apparently Gerrard came in and vetoed it. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, right.
I think the deal was struck with our transfer director of football or whatever, and Gerrard's come in and said he doesn't fancy the player.
Oh.
So I think that's why it's not happened. But that is the formation that I would play. We definitely need someone else in midfield. Kamara has been obviously a very good signing. I think the first few games he's played very well. But we need 2 top-class centre midfielders in front of him. We've got a good attacking midfielder. You know, we all rate Coutinho and Buendia. I think whichever one plays, they're good options. And we also need a centre-back now Carlos has got injured. Because essentially the team that played against Palace at the weekend was our team from last year, but it's with Kamara.
Would you expect a loan to come in for Carlos, or would you think that they would go and spend money again? Because how long is he out for? I'm assuming he's out for a while.
It looks like, well, Gerrard seems confident he's going to play again this season, but with his Achilles done, it's normally sort of 9 months at least. So it's going to be touch and go whether he plays again this season. I can see a loan coming in. We were rumoured with Chalobah. We've been rumoured with Bednarek, but that's gone a little bit quiet. Yeah. I can see either a cheap deal or a loan coming in. But one thing that this deal with Sarr has shown us is that we've apparently just got 25 million knocking around.
Yes,
so, yeah.
It's definitely that.
It's definitely in the bank somewhere. So I'm hoping, maybe a loan for a centre-back, but I'm hoping we spend that 25 million on another centre midfielder. I think that's where we're lacking. We all love Ramsey. Obviously, as a Villa boy, he's played well. He played really well last year. Young Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year. I'm happy with him being in and around the squad and playing. So I think it'll probably be whoever plays with him.
Okay.
But then you're going to have Gerrard's made a difficult situation for himself because that means he's going to have to drop the person he's just made as captain. So yeah. He's left himself in a little bit of a pickle. Personally, I don't think we'll sign anybody, and I have quite a bad feeling about Gerrard's future at the moment.
I think it's hard, really, because he was quite consistent last season, but I mean, it just depends, sort of. I don't personally. I look at your squad and I don't think you need anyone else. I don't think that. And he is probably, if he's vetoing signings, it probably means that he's quite happy with what he's got. But
yeah.
I mean, you don't want to leave yourself short, sort of. But I mean, I've seen things on Twitter this week saying about Gerrard and is he the right man for Villa? I mean, at the end of the day, it's your chairman at the end of the day who has to answer those questions, isn't it? And I think last season was, shall we say, an adequate season for him. It was his first season, wasn't it, in charge? So,
yeah.
I mean, nothing against the guy, but you got to give him some time. He's definitely looking to build something now. And Christ, he managed to get Coutinho in for like 16 million. So he's, something.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, and Coutinho was probably one of your best players sort of at the back end of last season. So,
yeah.
I mean, his name alone has attracted players to your club. So, I'd be, if I was a Villa fan, I'd be pretty happy, We're 3 games into the season. I don't think you can look at it in too much. I mean, for God's sake, Man United are beating Liverpool 2-0 right now. So,
yeah,
it's a strange start to the season for everyone. Liverpool are sitting just above relegation with Man United just above them and Chelsea just above them. So,
I think our concern, the fans' concern at the moment is we kind of see ourselves this year as being competition for West Ham, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, for the best of the rest.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it. We've lost, albeit away from home, but we've lost to Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, who are 2 teams I think we'd expect normally to at least get a result against, even if it's a draw.
Yeah.
And we've played quite poorly in those games. And we're looking at Newcastle drawing against Man City. They've played well to start the season. Crystal Palace, again, they've lost a game, but they've been playing quite consistently well. Leeds have obviously picked up a good win against you guys at the weekend. They've had a couple of good games already this season. We're yet to have that game where we look like we've really found our feet and, we're back into the swing of the season. And I think that's what's worrying us at the moment. It may well come, and it probably will do. I think the other thing that is getting to fans at the moment, and yes, you're going to tell me this is completely unrealistic. I know it is, but they're saying Pochettino's out there. Why don't we throw money at Pochettino? Brendan Rodgers, I think, is in trouble at Leicester. If there's anybody going to get the best out of Coutinho, it's probably the person that brought him into Liverpool. So are we going to look at replacing him when someone comes available and says that they're willing to take on the challenge? Pochettino is obviously ridiculous because he's going to go to a Madrid or Barcelona or, a massive team. He's not going to want to come to Villa. But I think the point is that there are other people available. There are other options out there. And, is the grass greener? It's probably too early to be talking like that, but I think if after 10 games, we're only talking about a couple of wins in those 10 games and a draw, and I'm looking at our run at the minute, we're going to have West Ham, Arsenal, and I can't remember who the third is, but we've got a run of 3 difficult games, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking now, we're going to come out of our first 6 games 1-1, drawn 5, 1-1, lost 5, sorry. So that would be a worry, but yeah. West Ham haven't won yet, so you never know.
You've got West Ham, Arsenal, and Man City and Leicester your next 4 league games. So, I mean, you got some difficult games coming up. I mean, you got Bolton tomorrow night in the EFL Cup, so
that gives us a bit of confidence. No disrespect to Bolton, but if we can go out there and win 2 or 3-0 or something like that, it might give us confidence going forward.
Yeah, you have got a tough. I mean, West Ham at the moment can't even score, so you might.
Yeah.
You might be able to get something past them. So, do you think realistically that Aston Villa are looking for sort of a top 10 finish?
I think, it's still got to be the aim at the moment. I think until we get to sort of 10, 12 games in, and then we sort of start seeing where we are. Which is basically what we did with Dean Smith last year. I can't remember, we were about 13, 14 games into the season, I think. Maybe a little bit more. But yeah, I think we're going to get towards Christmas, start assessing the situation. And if we're not looking like getting near to where we want to be, which I think minimum will be top half, I think Gerrard might be in a little bit of trouble. But he'll have the backing for now. Obviously, the transfer window hasn't even closed yet. And if there's any team at the minute that's been throwing in sort of secret deals without anybody knowing, we bought Danny Ings and it was a surprise to everybody. Kamara was a bit of a surprise to everybody. So, who knows what might happen, but I think he's definitely got to sign at least 1 player in the remaining few days of the transfer window. Probably 2, but most importantly, he's got to pick a bloody formation because I'm fed up with my fantasy league team having people dropped.
Right, well that's the strategy. So we'll get them sent off to the respective clubs now, and everything that we've just asked for should be in place by next week.
Absolutely. We're going to come back. We're both going to have 5-0 wins. We're going to look like geniuses.
I mean, Chelsea play Leicester on I'm not confident on Saturday, so we will have to wait and see. So that is the end of part 1. We'll be back in part 2 with some Wonders of White quiz and a Who Am I? Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this week's podcast. We're going to go straight into the Wonders of White, Liam. So, Phil Foden became the youngest player to reach 100 top-flight games under Pep Guardiola this weekend.
Blimey, and there was me saying 2 years ago he needs to get loaned out for experience.
Wow. Ouch. So Koulibaly has been sent off 6 times since 2017, which is the most by any player in the top 5 leagues.
Wow.
In that period.
The new Sergio Ramos.
Apparently so. I mean, he was sent off 5 times in 4 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah. Bournemouth didn't have a shot or a touch inside Arsenal's box in the first half Saturday night.
They had no chance.
That's terrible, isn't it?
We lost to them, Chris. We lost to them.
Well, they didn't even didn't have a shot or a touch inside the box. So, I mean, says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And lastly, Bayern Munich's 9 points and plus 14 goal difference is the best start to any Bundesliga ever.
Blimey.
I mean, they're winning the league.
Yeah, I saw Mane.
That's a prediction.
I'm sure Liverpool fans will be wishing that Mane was playing for them tonight. I also saw PSG won about 7-0 or something yesterday.
They scored after like 8 seconds. Did you see that?
They did. I watched it. I was actually watching it. I wasn't up to much. I switched it on, and Neymar was absolutely unplayable. And I think he's already in three or four games. He's already got like 6 goals and 7 assists or something.
Neymar's the same. Neymar's got like 6 assists and 5 goals. I mean, it was straight out of a video game, that sort of goal, wasn't it? It's just a pass back to Messi, straight over the top. I don't know what the keeper was doing, to be fair. He kind of just flapped at it, didn't he? But I don't know. Never mind. Right. We're going to move on to the quiz. So I couldn't really come up with an idea of what this quiz was going to be. So I've kind of gone with a times that we might have been shocked.
Okay.
In football.
Nice.
I couldn't think of a title for it, and I was putting in shocks in Google, and nothing really of anything was coming up. So these are quite handcrafted questions.
Okay.
And I reckon you're gonna get around about 6 to 8, I reckon. Sort of in that ballpark.
Okay.
Right. Ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. So, Leicester shocked the Premier League by winning the 15-16 Premier League, but what were the odds at the start of the season?
Were they? I think there were. I'm going to say 5,000 to 1. Were they 5,000?
Yes, they were. They were 5,000 to 1. I mean, there can't have been many people that went for it, but whoever did go for it, happy days.
It made the news back at home because obviously, as you know, I'm originally from Leicester. My mum and dad live there. Anyone who put any sort of money whatsoever on Leicester to win the title, and I think there was probably about 10 people in the end, they were all featured on the news.
Oh, right. Can you tell who won the money by they just all had new conservatories built in Leicester?
I think the most someone put on was a tenner, so I think someone did walk away with 50 grand.
Okay. Question 2. Can you name me 3 goalkeepers of the 6 who have scored in the Premier League?
Oh, this is the kind of question I love. Right, number 1, because he was at Villa when he did it, Peter Schmeichel.
He was the very first, I believe.
Number 2, I'm going to go with, I think Begovic scored.
He did. He was the second most recent goalkeeper to do it. It was for Stoke against Southampton.
See, I'm a keeper. I remember when a goalkeeper scores because it's just, goalkeepers union. I want to say Paul Robinson scored, but I can't remember whether it was the Premier League or the FA Cup. But I'm going to go with it. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, he was the third goalkeeper to do it.
Nice.
You also had Brad Friedel, second. Tim Howard was fourth.
Yeah.
And most recently was Allison.
Of course, yeah. All about that. No fans, so it didn't really count, did it?
Yeah, we all say that about them winning the league, don't we? Okay, so that was 2 out of 2. Next one. I don't know why I put this one in. In 2015, Bradford beat Chelsea in the 4th round of the FA Cup, but can you tell me which player scored Bradford's first goal and assisted 2 others in their 4-2 win? Now, I shall give you a clue.
Okay.
He has played in the Premier League, and he's played for about 8 different northern teams.
Okay. So I think he was still playing the other year. In fact, I think we've mentioned him before. I want to say it's John Stead.
Yes, it was. I was about to say we have mentioned him before. It is John Stead now. Yeah.
Hero.
I was working that day, and Chelsea were 2-0 up.
It's all right. If it's a cup upset against Bradford City, we lost the 2-legged semi-final of the League Cup.
Yeah, I remember that. Ouch.
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch. Okay, well, 3 out of 3. Now this one is actually a Villa question. Can you name me the player at the time playing for Villa in 2002 who decided to use a Black & Decker on his blood blister, resulting in him missing 3 matches?
Oh my God.
I don't know why you would do this. I have no idea what he was thinking.
2002.
2002, yeah.
We'd have been pretty good by then.
Well, the blood blister was actually underneath his nail on his foot, and he drilled through it, the nail, to release the blood, and he ended up missing 3 games. Apparently, it could have been a lot worse.
I was going to say, if you drill through your foot, surely that's a longer injury. But I don't know this one, so I'm going to guess, and I'm going to go with George Boateng because he played for us around then.
Close. It was Darius Vassell.
Oh, of course it was. He was an idiot, wasn't he? Yeah. I've never heard that before. Never heard that.
I don't know what he did. I don't know why he just didn't go and just ask someone, but never mind. Okay, so you're 3 out of 4 so far. So question 5. Which player scored the infamous beach ball goal against Liverpool?
Oh, that was Sunderland, wasn't it?
Yes.
I think it would have been Darren Bent back then.
Correct.
Yeah, he joined us not long after.
4 out of 5. Okay, question 6. In 1996, what did Sir Alex blame at half-time when his team were getting thrashed by Southampton?
It's one of 2, isn't it? It's either, because in one game he blamed the shirts and in another game he blamed the fog. Or maybe it was both. No, maybe it was both, because, they would have worn grey, wouldn't they? I'm going to go with they wore grey.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It was the kit, yeah. So he blamed the kit, so that they couldn't see each other or something. So, yeah. That's 5 out of 6, so you're on track. In 2011, what was the score between Manchester United as they beat Arsenal at Old Trafford?
2011. That's still Fergie, isn't it? He didn't leave till after.
It was Fergie.
Oh, it's that game, isn't it? It is that game. It's the 8-2 one.
It was infamous. I'd hate to be a Arsenal fan right now.
I watched that with United fans, so I remember that game very well.
Just quickly, Liverpool have just scored. Mo Salah scored in the 82nd minute.
The comeback's on.
Okay. Yeah, same here. Question 8. Leroy Rossini holds the record for the shortest time at a club as a manager, but can you tell me how long he lasted?
No, I can't, but I'm going to take I know it's days. I'm going to take a stab in the dark, like 9 days or something stupid.
He lasted 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, I'm way off.
So he was, this was at, Torquay, I believe. And, what actually happened is he was given the job, and then, whilst he was actually being given the job, the club were actually being taken over as well. And, they actually decided to hire the assistant manager instead as the manager, which resulted in him being fired after 10 minutes. So, yeah.
Oh, you would. I mean, I hope he got a good,
I don't know.
For it. If he got a severance package, that's incredible.
So you are 6 out of 8. Okay. So which board member for Norwich famously took to the pitch at half-time in 2005?
I was going to do an impression, but I couldn't save it all from it. It was Delia, wasn't it? Let's be having you.
Yeah, it was Delia Smith.
Where are you? Where are you? Oh.
Yeah, I see. Anthony Joshua took some pointers from that speech and decided to do his own on Saturday night. It was very strange. Okay, so to get 8 out of 10, you need to get this one right.
Okay.
So, and you're going to get it right because it's an easy one. So in 2001, which Tottenham defender shocked the club by joining Arsenal?
Oh, it's Sol Campbell.
It was Sol Campbell. Yeah.
No one crossed that divide, did they? There can't be many players that have crossed that since.
I can't think of any.
David Bentley played for both, didn't he? But there was a gap.
I mean, Gallas played for both as well. He played for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Tottenham. So
yeah, basically any London club, he'll rock up at Leyton Orient in a minute, and yeah, he just loved it around there, didn't he?
So yeah, right. So that's the quiz. You did 8 out of 10, so it's the higher end of what I thought you'd get, and I hope that you were shocked by some of the...
I was certainly shocked by the length of time Leroy Rossini was in charge of Torquay. That is very impressive to be sacked after 10 minutes.
I mean, yeah. Cool. So, do you want to do the Who Am I?
I will do Who Am I? I will let you pick which way you want me to read.
So he's obviously retired then.
No, they're still playing. I'm not going to give you their current.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll just go normal. Just go from start to finish.
So that
way I can try and grasp his nationality.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking in my head. Okay, right. Start to finish then. So I'll tell you he started his professional career in 2009. And he played for Real Madrid.
Right.
He then, in 2010, moved to Benfica. He then had 2 loan spells. He went to Bolton Wanderers, and then he went to Valencia on loan. He then joined Valencia permanently, and now he's moved from Valencia to his current team.
Oh, blimey.
I can give you... Do you want dates of when he's moved? Or do you think you're all right?
No, I think I'm all right. I, to be quite honest with you, I think I actually know who this is.
Okay, what's your thought?
The Bolton thing's a bit of I think the Bolton thing's a giveaway, and the Valencia thing, because he must have been at Valencia for about 6-7 seasons, I reckon.
He was there quite a chunk of time. In fact,
I can't believe you've done this to me as well.
Yeah, okay. You see,
this might not be making the cut for the podcast. I have a slight suspicion that you might have gone with a Spanish player.
Yes.
That is probably currently at Leeds.
He is currently at Leeds.
And I think he goes by the name of Rodrigo.
He does indeed, correct. I had 3 clues lined up for you as well. So clue number 1 was he'd made the most appearances and scored the most goals for Valencia.
Yeah. He must have been there for about 6-7 seasons.
Yeah, so he joined on loan in 2014 and left in 2020. So yeah, he scored 38 goals in 172 games.
Well, for Valencia, that's not a lot, is it?
No, over both spells.
But then when you even think about it, he hasn't scored that many. I know he scored like 4 goals this season, whatever, but before this season, he wasn't prolific for Leeds, was he, really? When you think about it, I don't think he actually scored
17 goals so far for Leeds in 60 games, and he scored 27 goals in 68 for Valencia. So a little bit better there. But he never actually played for Real Madrid. He only played for their B and C teams. So I
do remember him playing for Bolton. That must have been when they were a lot better.
It must have been in the Premier League at that time.
Yeah.
I had no recollection of it whatsoever. I kind of included it because obviously he scored against you at the weekend, and I just thought that would be funny. But once I saw that he'd been on loan at Bolton, and I had no recollection of it.
This is my Football Manager knowledge coming in, because obviously you didn't give me the current club that he was at, so I knew that he'd been recently playing for Valencia, and then I do remember him playing for Bolton. So, but it's a bit of a cheeky one though to put him in, if I'm honest. But
yeah. Sorry about that, but you did include Diego Carlos last week, and obviously,
we did, yeah. That was because he got.
Yeah, I was mourning, obviously losing him for the rest of the season, so payback.
So the Man United game is still 2-1. It's the 88th minute, and Ronaldo's just come on.
What a way to shore up the defence.
Yeah, I mean he's brought Wan-Bissaka and Donny van der Beek on as well, so.
Like everyone behind the ball then.
Yeah, what are the stats saying in the game? I mean, Liverpool have had 70% possession.
Five on target.
5 on target, yeah. I mean, they've dominated the possession. The total passes as well, they got double what United have got. I mean, this looks like a very good free. Even to get a draw out of this, I know United fans won't want to draw now because obviously they've been winning 2-0, but if you were to go by the stats, you'd probably say a point is probably pretty decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, so just going off what it is now, 2-1 to Man United, so top 4 currently Arsenal, Man City, Tottenham and Leeds, and the bottom 3, West Ham, Leicester. So we are actually playing the bottom 2 teams this weekend.
Yeah, we are. So 3 points for both.
So Man United up to 14th currently, just behind Villa, and Liverpool down in 16th after 3. I mean, who would have thought that?
Yeah.
Liverpool, 2 draws and a defeat. I mean, you would not have thought that.
No.
Sort of the last season. So that one's going to injury time now. But that is it for this week. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you some good news next week. Well, obviously if you're listening, you're a West Ham Leicester fan, it wouldn't be good news, or it might be good news and bad news again for us. So, Anything else, Liam?
No, all good. Just bring on 3 points next week.
Yeah. And you got a big EFL Cup game on it's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is.
And it's the Champions League draw on Friday as well.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm that excited about that right this minute, but we'll see. But transfer deadline day on Friday is going to be interesting. I think there might be a lot of clubs still doing business, I think it might be quite a heavy one. So, yeah. But, anyway, we will be back next week.